Hi everyone, and welcome to another Rock Posers Roulette radio show here on Firebrand Rock Radio. I'd like to welcome a very special guest this week, and that is Mr. Eric Turner of Warrant. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and it's good to be here.
No, it's a real pleasure to have you on the show. Obviously, you want to find out what's going on with the band, and, of course, the other important thing in your life is, of course, your wine business.
Yes, I'm turning into quite the rock and roll wino, I guess you could say.
It seems to be quite a pattern for bands to release either wines or spirits now with their name on.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the first person to do it. I live out in Temecula wine country in Southern California. I have 30-some wineries in my backyard, and to be honest, the wine industry found me a couple years ago. A couple of my friends that are involved with wines asked me if Warrant would like to do a wine. So about 2.5 years ago, we did a wine called Warrant Red. And through that experience, I fell in love with the wine business and all the winemaker dinners and events and just the whole process, being around the environment and creating something. And of course, it's a great marketing tool to keep the Warrant brand out there, and I'm also branching out into my own brand, Eric Turner Wine. So it's fun. It's rock and roll. It's music, and wine are my passions, I guess you could say.
Excellent stuff. Now, talking about Warrant, what plans have we got for the future? Obviously, we had the Rockaholic album out in 2011. Which was an absolutely excellent release. I really thought Robert Mason did a superb job on the vocals on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. We were really happy with the way the CD turned out. We put a lot of work into it. We spent a good, 2.5 years writing that record. And it was in between touring, and everybody's busy doing, different things. And we're all kind of spread out now. Jerry lives in Nevada, and Robert lives in Arizona. Joey and Steven and myself were spread out all over California. So it's kind of hard getting together. But, once we did all get together and with Keith Olsen and made that record, it was a record that we're really proud of. And, of course, everybody knows selling CDs is almost impossible these days, but it is, gratifying, the feedback that we've received from the fans and, the comment that you just made. And really the greatest thing is when we go out and tour, we've played almost 100 shows since that CD came out. And as time goes on and we play more and more shows, we'll see people singing the words to Home or Sex Ain't Love or Life's Song, some of the songs that we've put out. And, it's a neat feeling still to see somebody singing something other than, one of the classics.
Sure, absolutely. And are any plans in the making for a new album?
We talk about it, and we have a few ideas bouncing around. We've actually started sending some little riffs to each other. Robert played me a song he's working on that I really like a lot. So slowly but surely, but we don't have any definitive time to get in the studio. Steven, our drummer, had neck surgery, and he was in a neck brace for 2.5 months. He's going to be coming back for his first show back with the band on February 23rd. And when we're all together again, I'm sure we'll be talking about new music and a new CD for 2013, hopefully.
One thing I did spot to you on was, of course, the superb series that was Metal Evolution.
Yeah, that was a really cool thing to be a part of. We filmed it, I want to say around 2 years before it actually came out. We filmed it at my house, Jerry and I. We had a great day, and it was fun doing the interview, and kind of forgot about it. A couple of years went by, and all of a sudden it's this amazing, really cool VH1 series, and, really stoked to be a part of it.
What I thought was great was the fact that obviously Sam Dunn came into that. For those of you who are not aware of the series, and really you ought to watch it, really not being a fan of what he called the hair metal scene, and had really sort of put it down, and was quite a changed character by the end of the programme. obviously saw you guys, yes, you musicians, and yes, you serious, and it's not just some flaky thing that can be pushed to one side.
Yeah, when we came out, the images were just, that was the style back then. Somehow, some way, being on the Sunset Strip, that whole hair metal glam thing happened. I think it was, a lot of the bands that we were, influenced by, like Hanoi Rocks and New York Dolls and stuff, that whole androgynous thing, it just happened, we were a part of it. We actually made a conscious decision before our first record came out to tone down the hair metal thing quite a bit. So we always laughed to ourselves when people would say, "Oh my God, you guys are so glam and this and hair band," and we're like, "You should have seen us 2 years. You should have seen us in 84, 85, 86. If you think we're glam now, we were full on cross dressers or something." I mean, we really did tone it down a lot for when our music came out, because we didn't want to just appeal to just females. When we would play the clubs and sell them out, it was 90% was girls out there, and the other 10% were guys that were there to pick up on girls that we couldn't hang out with.
I mean, when I speak to some people now, they're almost embarrassed by that particular scene back then. I mean, I absolutely loved it. I was in London, late 80s, early 90s, and there was a big scene there at the time as well. And I'm certainly not embarrassed by it. I still love the music. It's never gone away. Obviously, there was a lull for most of the bands when, unfortunately, grunge hit the scene. But I feel it's come back now, and it's probably getting as strong as before.
Yeah, I'm not embarrassed by it. I post pictures on, the Warrant Facebook and my Eric Turner Wines Facebook, classic shots from back in the day. And those are, those get really strong reactions, lots of comments and likes and stuff like that. Yeah, there was definitely a time in the early 90s where it was very fashionable to hate hair metal, 80s rock, whatever you guys want to call it. I always just called it, rock and roll. We're a melodic rock and roll band. But yeah, now it's come around, and it's definitely, not as bad. I think if we were to try and dress that way now, that would be embarrassing. Yeah.
Well, I think we've all moved on and got a little bit older now, and probably half the outfits wouldn't fit anymore.
No, yeah, exactly. I go to the gym and I try, but I was a starving musician back then, literally. When we got our record deal at 5'11" and 128 pounds, so there's no way I could fit in those clothes.
I mean, one thing with the bands who were huge back in the 80s, and now a lot of them are obviously making a comeback. It's not just a nostalgia trip. There are a lot of young fans coming to see these bands and listen to the music.
Yeah, it's nice. When we do all ages shows, there's a wide gamut of, demographic, younger people there, or they're there with their parents, or, I don't know how they got turned on to us. They just listening to their parents' music or something and dig it, and come out and, support the music. I think this generation of kids now, they like all kinds of music, whether it's, Rihanna, and then they listen to Led Zeppelin, or they Green Day, or then they're listening to, the Eagles. I see it with my son's friends and all the stuff that they listen to. It's interesting.
Maybe because it seems to be sort of more of a pick and mix listening habit for a lot of young people now, and even older people, especially with the likes of iTunes, etc., where it's more about an individual track rather than the album.
Oh, absolutely. I don't see the the loyalty or the fanaticism in kids today like I did when I was growing up. I loved Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith and AC/DC, and I bought every single record and T-shirts and went to every concert. I could tell you who their manager was, their booking agent, who designed their album covers, who wrote the songs. I mean,
absolutely.
I was just all consumed and just idol worship, and these guys are gods to me, and I wanted to be like them, and I just don't. Yeah, I don't see that bands that are coming out nowadays. It's a lot harder to, I think, to have an audience like that. It's more about one song, and it's on iTunes, and nobody knows who's in the band or who wrote the song or where they're from. It doesn't really matter. It's just like, this is the song for now, and after I listen to it 30 times, something else will come out and it'll be forgotten.
Well, I see AC/DC have now succumbed to iTunes. I know they held off for a long time, refusing to have their albums split up, but I guess money talked.
Yeah, they definitely don't need the money. I think it's a cool thing that they're doing, and it's just about sharing your music with the world, and you can, you can't run from advancements in technology and culture and in the world we live in. I think the smart thing to do is embrace it and keep your integrity intact, but at the same time, they wrote all that music for everybody to hear, not for themselves. So I think it's cool. The Beatles held out for a long time, and AC/DC, some other artists out there. Not sure, but I think Kid Rock still hasn't put his records on iTunes. But yeah, hey man, more power to them. Either way is cool with me. I still have all my CDs, and I just download them into iTunes and listen to them that way.
Oh, I've still got all my vinyl.
Yeah, I have a lot of vinyl, but I don't have a turntable anymore.
Oh, you need to get yourself a turntable and revisit.
Yeah, I bet.
Going back over the Warrant catalogue, I know it's probably a question you get asked a lot, but is there a particular favourite album or one that you are the most proud of, shall we say?
Well, the first two records, they all, they happen so fast, and kind of like a right arm and left arm of Warrant. They just those first two records and all the experiences I had to go along with them are my two favorites. And then I would say, Rockaholic is right. Rockaholic feels to me like it could have been our third record. It's just right back to that same type of energy and songwriting. So yeah, but the first two records, obviously.
One question I've been asked by several people on Facebook to ask you is regarding the booking you had for Firefest, which was cancelled. What were the reasons behind that? It's a long story. It's nothing to do with the fans or anything. It's just business, and Firefest didn't do anything wrong. They did everything that they were supposed to do, but it's more of a management thing, where certain things were told to us and weren't true, and basically made it impossible for us to go for just one show. That's unfortunate. If the offer was made again in the future, would you take it up?
We would be a lot more careful accepting an offer, making sure that there's more than one show before we travel across the pond, as you say, just to play one show and then travel back. There was supposed to be multiple shows.
Oh, right. Okay. Are there any plans to come over to Europe at all?
What's that?
Are there any plans to come over to Europe at all, touring?
Fans that come over here?
No, are there any plans to come over to Europe?
I'm sorry, I've listened to heavy metal too long. No, not at this moment. Never say never. I hope so. We've just, for whatever reason, it's just, we've just never had much opportunity to get over there. And when we did have the opportunities in the early 90s, we spent the majority of our time in the United States touring. And then we did go over there for a big tour that was supposed to last 6 weeks. And I think it was 1990 or 91. And Janie got hurt and we had to go home. And it's just never smoothly happened for us,
It's unfortunately probably just one of those things. I know there's certain bands that have never managed to come over to Europe and the UK. Warrant is one of the bands, unfortunately, I've never had a chance to see live. But hey, maybe one day I will.
Yeah, never say never, right?
Absolutely. Well, Eric, it's been a real pleasure to have you on the show. I really appreciate you coming on. Obviously, I wait with anticipation to see if a new album comes out. Fingers crossed on that one. And good luck with your future endeavors.
Yeah, thank you very much, and cheers, and thank you for talking to me, and I hope we do make it over there one day so you can see us do what we do, some 80s rock.
Thank you, Eric.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.